Space. The final frontier.
Welcome everyone to Power Rainbows. I'm of course your host, Professor Pride, and on today's show we're talking about LGBTQ themes in one of television's most popular shows, the critically acclaimed Star Trek. But first off, don't forget to like this video, comment down below your LGBTQ friendly thoughts, and subscribe so you don't miss new episodes. Now let's pump it into warp speed for today's new episode. Now, I'm admittedly not a big expert on Star Trek, but I happen to know someone who's a huge Trekkie. He and I have been friends since high school, and we collaborate together on a regular basis. Please welcome my friend, the guy behind Burning Earth Productions, Chris Krasnowski, also known as Burning Earth Chris.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Chris, and I'm joining Professor Pride as your Trekspert today.
Glad to have you on board. So, could you tell us a bit about Star Trek and how it came to be?
So, Star Trek first premiered on September 8th, 1966, with the original series episode The Man Trap. As the first season evolved and new episodes were produced, the world found itself captivated by its intriguing ideas and exploration of moral ethical issues that served as allegories for issues of the time. And while some episodes are a little dated, to be sure, let's be real here, this was made in the 60s, the majority of the original series episodes were still beloved by many fans, and they're still relevant over 50 years after they first aired.
Has it really been 50 years since Star Trek started?
Oh yeah. And Star Trek is a series that caused echoes across literal space and time, and left positive influences on many things from technology to even civil rights. The technology seen in the show would inspire the cell phone, the home computer, 3D printing, and even influenced NASA to name their first space shuttle after the Enterprise. Star Trek is also credited as showing one of the first interracial kisses on American television, even though later years and more research have shown otherwise. And that was just the original series. 50 years after it first aired, there are now 13 movies, 9 series as of this episode's air date. There are several other series in production, and they each have their own unique stories, and it doesn't show signs of stopping anytime soon.
That's a whole lot of Trek.
You have no idea. A common misconception is that Star Trek is about action, but in many instances it's about exploring humanity and looking at ourselves through the mirror and daring to ask the questions that we might be afraid to ask ourselves. It's also about optimism and hope, and creating a brighter future so that men, women, and other non-binary genders can come together and take delight in the differences that make us who we are. That was the original vision of the series creator, Gene Roddenberry, and considering the show is still seeing new life after all that time is a testament to that vision, I would say.
So how exactly has Star Trek touched upon LGBTQ issues?
Well, that's going to be the meat and potatoes of this episode. Buckle up, folks. This one's going to be a doozy. While not many LGBTQ allegories or themes exist in regards to the original Star Trek, the actor who played Hikaru Sulu, George Takei, came out in 2005 as gay, having been in a relationship with his life partner, Brad Altman, for 18 years. The thespian had often been involved in LGBT organizations, including frontrunners, during his time in the closet. However, it was only after Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger vetoed same-sex marriage legislation in California that he decided to make his status public. In September 2008, George and Brad were married, with fellow Trek alumni Walter Koenig as his best man and Nichelle Nichols as best woman, and the couple have been strong advocates for LGBTQ rights ever since. When Star Trek The Next Generation first premiered in 1987, it showed a crew very different from the Kirk and Spock that many fans of the original series once knew. Despite this, The Next Generation quickly matured into one of the most widely known television series of all time. During the series' run, Gene Roddenberry had plans to introduce gay and lesbian characters into the crew of the new USS Enterprise, where they would be treated just as equally as those who would be straight. However, when Gene passed in 1991, his original vision of having LGBTQ characters never totally came to pass. Despite this setback, an entire episode of the 5th season, The Outcast, showed First Officer William Riker falling in love with Soren, a member of an androgynous alien species that viewed gender as a primitive concept. At the end of the episode, Soren is shown having undergone a treatment similar to conversion therapy by order of the alien government, leaving Riker distraught. While the episode was praised for its addressing of LGBTQ rights, it also faced criticism in regards to the writing staff failing to properly explore the issue. Some LGBTQ members even felt that conversion therapy was being sanctioned by the writers. Actor Jonathan Frakes, who played Riker, also felt the episode wasn't daring enough, and felt that the actor playing Soren should have been more masculine. Despite these issues, however, most of the production staff were pleased with the end result, and it paved the way for other series to take things a step further. In Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Actress Terry Farrell plays Jadzia Dax, a member of the alien species known as the Trill. The Trill species is made up of two halves, a symbiont and a human-like host. While a host doesn't necessarily need a symbiont does require a host. Very few members of the Trill species are selected to carry the symbionts, as the humanoids are often required to undergo rigorous trials before becoming accepted. If a Trill humanoid is chosen to carry a symbiont, the personality of the humanoid and the memories of the symbiont, which in itself is also sentient, combine to create a synthesis of the two. The symbiont by itself can often live up to beyond 550 Earth years and undergo multiple host bodies, regardless of gender, before passing on. Now I know that might be a little confusing, so feel free to rewatch that entire section if you don't quite get it. Actually, better yet, just go watch the series. We'll be here when you get back.
Chris, at the end of the video, they can go watch that, not right now.
Oh, fine. Anyway, in the episode Rejoined, Jadzia, who carries the Dax symbiont, encounters someone named Lenara Khan, who's carrying the Khan symbiont. When the two symbionts were inhabiting previous bodies over 150 years ago, Dax and Khan were married. According to Trill customs, it is taboo to continue a relationship once a host body is passed on and the symbiont is given to a new host. So when Dax and Khan meet again after a long period of time, tensions rise between the two, and the episode reaches its climax with the first same-sex kiss in Star Trek's history. The episode was broadcast during a time when it was highly controversial to show gay and lesbian relationships on television, but according to the cast and crew, this episode was not inherently about homosexuality. Director Avery Brooks, who played the series' lead role of Captain Sisko, reaffirmed, "It was a story about love, and the consequences of making choices out of love. The kiss was irrelevant." And in spite of the negative feedback it received at the time, Cinefantastique ranked this episode as the 4th best of the entire series. But that's not the only example of a queer character in Deep Space Nine. In fact, another person who eventually became a regular initially played their character with an ambiguous sexual identity. Andrew Robinson, who plays Cardassian Elam Garak. No, not that kind, Matt. Thank you. Andrew Robinson, who plays Cardassian tailor Elam Garak, once commented that his own sexuality and tastes were purposely left ambiguous. While it was never fully explained in regards to his tastes in any episode, Andrew commented, "In that area, they just made a choice they didn't want to go there, and if they don't want to go there, I can't, because the writing doesn't support it." The first 3 seasons of Star Trek Voyager didn't have any explicitly LGBTQ characters. However, in Season 4, a new character in series regular was introduced, 7 of 9, played by Jerry Ryan. In the series, 7 of 9 is a former drone severed from the Borg Collective by order of Captain Janeway. Now, if you're unfamiliar with who the Borg are, think of them as a single collective consciousness made up of hundreds of thousands of species, with the goal of assimilating all life in the galaxy. Kinda like a conversion camp, except instead of trying to take away the gay, it takes away your entire sense of individuality. Neither prospect sounds very inviting, wouldn't you agree? But I digress. 7 of 9 joined the crew of the Starship Voyager on their way home from the Delta Quadrant to Earth for the remaining 4 seasons of the series. And while she was primarily at it for sex appeal and a ratings boost, she ended up becoming a fan favorite as she began to eventually regain her humanity, and her friendship with Captain Janeway was praised in particular. Now we'll get back to this character and why it's relevant when we cover our show closer to the end of the episode. Now, Star Trek Enterprise didn't do much in regards to LGBTQ characters, but the writers did explore the idea of polyamory, when it was revealed that Dr. Phlox, played by John Billingsley, comes from a species called the Denobulans that observe and even encourage polygamous relationships. Dr. Phlox states that he had 3 wives, each with 3 husbands, and 31 children in his extended family, with 5 of those children being his own. In 2009, Star Trek the original series was given an alternate timeline reboot with a trilogy of action-adventure films called Star Trek Into Darkness, and Star Trek Beyond. These movies were intended to bring Star Trek into a more modern tone, and despite some disdain from the average Trekkie, general audiences have been more receptive, finding their way to the original series, spin-offs, and, well, beyond. In this trilogy of movies, Zachary Quinto plays an alternate reality version of Spock, and John Cho plays an alternate reality version of Hikaru Sulu. In 2011, after the tragic suicide of Jamie Roddenberry and subsequent harassment of the Roddenberry family, Zachary Quinto himself came out as gay. He stated that, "Living a gay life without publicly acknowledging it is simply not enough to make any significant contribution to the immense work that lies ahead on the road to complete equality." In Star Trek Beyond, Sulu is, for a very brief scene, shown to have a gay partner, intended as an homage and dedication to his previous incarnation, George Takei. And despite some initial criticism from George himself, who felt that in Gene Roddenberry's vision Sulu was straight, he was nevertheless flattered, and open to the inclusion of a new regular gay character serving aboard the Enterprise. Now for those of you who have not seen any of the new series on Paramount Plus but would like to without being spoiled, you may want to skip ahead to this time mark. After the cancellation of Star Trek Enterprise in 2004, a new series called Star Trek Discovery premiered on CBS All Access, basically their answer to Netflix. The series has run for 3 seasons so far and features not only the first expressly gay characters in the show, but it also features them as a couple, Engineer Paul Stamets, played by Anthony Rapp, and Dr. Hugh Culber, played by Wilson Cruz. Now in Season 1, Dr. Culber was killed, much to the dismay of many fans who grew into the character. However, in Season 2, they ended up bringing him back into the fold as a regular member of the cast, to the delight of many fans, including myself. In 2018, it was announced that there would be a new Star Trek series, and none other than Sir Patrick Stewart was the one who gave the announcement.
Jean-Luc Picard is back.
Much to the delight of many Trekkies, the captain of the USS Enterprise D was set to return almost 20 years after the series finale of The Next Generation, along with a few other familiar faces.
What the hell are you doing out here, Picard? Saving the galaxy?
When the first trailer for Star Trek Picard dropped, it was revealed that not only was Jean-Luc Picard returning, but the fan favorite 7 of 9 was also going to be a part of the action. The series premiered in January 2020 for a total of 10 episodes in the first season, and dealt with Captain Picard's life after resigning from Starfleet. In the series, Picard takes a journey with a ragtag team of individuals across the galaxy, not as a member of the Federation, but as a civilian on a journey to save a young girl. Throughout the series, Picard and his new allies come across 7 of 9, who has regained much for humanity since the end of Star Trek Voyager. Over the course of the series, 7 and Picard's goals align several times, and at the end of the first season, 7 is revealed to be starting a relationship with Picard's new XO, Raffi Musiker. Jerry Ryan and Raffi's actress, Michelle Hurd, would later take to Twitter and say that 7 of 9 and Raffi were in fact queer, much to the unexpected but welcome delight of many fans, including myself, and ensuring that the future of Star Trek is as bright as the colors of the rainbow flag.
So let me get this right. You think there are many more LGBTQ characters to become a part of Star Trek and its adaptations in the future?
Well, in the words of Ambassador Spock, to think otherwise would be highly illogical.
And to be fair, I'm sure we have only scratched the surface on this topic. So let us know in the comments down below some characters we might have missed, and maybe we can do a part 2 to this episode one day down the road.
The main purpose Matt and I made this episode is to show you how the Star Trek franchise has helped the LGBTQ community over the years in becoming more and more accepted.
As our community fought for equal rights on the streets and in our legislation around the world, the creators of Star Trek were showing everyone how they can learn to accept one another, no matter who we love and no matter our gender identity.
And I think that's one of the main reasons why Star Trek will go down in history as one of the most beautiful and well-loved franchises of all time.
Anyway, that's all for our episode today. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you goes out to Burning Earth Chris for writing, producing, and for joining us for this episode today. To find out more info on Chris, you can check out his YouTube channels, linked in the description down below, where you can find much more amazing VFX work, music, Let's Plays of games like Star Trek Bridge Commander, and much more.
Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to Let's Play Star Trek Bridge Commander. My name is Burning Earth Chris, and I'm going to be your pilot tonight.
You can also check out his website to keep up to date with all of his filmmaking.
And as always, if you like our content and want to support more LGBTQ education in the future, consider checking out our merchandise store or becoming a member. Don't forget to like this video, comment down below your LGBTQ friendly thoughts, hit that rainbow subscribe button so you don't miss out on new episodes, and share this video with others.
I'm your host, Matt Haslam.
And I'm your Trexpert, Chris Krasnowski.
This has been PBR. Have a gay day, everyone, and bye for now.
Live long and prosper.
Still not enough rainbows? Click here to see more weekly episodes of Powered by Rainbows, Semester 4, only on MHP TV.